Hey folks, walk with me. I love the movie A Christmas Carol. I actually first saw it in a theater before I had ever seen the movie, and then I went back to see it every year in the theater. And I don't know why, this is probably not the best version. I might get roasted for this. I actually my preferred version of A Christmas Carol movie is the Patrick Stewart version where he plays Scrooge. But I love the movie because of reasons that I'll talk about in a moment. First, if you can bear with me for 30 seconds to a minute, it's Giving Tuesday when I'm putting this out, at least. So if you're seeing this late, this still applies. I think that A Christmas Carol is the perfect movie for Giving Tuesday. If you are interested in giving on Giving Tuesday, I have a nonprofit that could desperately use funding. Our focus is helping people who are sleeping on the streets in in New England, get through the winter. Basically survive the winter. And we take no salaries. We are totally volunteer driven, and so your money goes to me purchasing things and then me driving out to where people are staying on the street and handing those things directly to them. That's it. So I'll put that link in the description below, and no matter when you're seeing this, it still applies, and I would appreciate any generosity there. Okay, so the reasons that I love A Christmas Carol, I think, as it sort of like pertains to my experience in my life, is this concept of sort of wholehearted redemption. Right? I have lived my entire life with this idea that, like, once you are perceived a certain way, or once you once you create some strife with a friendship or a romantic relationship or whatever it is, that relationship is then irredeemable. There is no option to get back what you once had. And I've struggled with this my entire life, and it sucks. I don't have a better way to put it than that. It makes it really hard to have long-lasting, meaningful relationships because since challenging times and differing opinions and just screw-ups happen, I have a hard time dealing with those and thinking that any relationship can survive it. And if you think about what is happening in A Christmas Carol, you have Ebenezer Scrooge, who is just this dastardly fellow, whose just main focus is squeezing as much money out of his fellow humans as he can, and just operating off sheer greed, no matter what the cost, the human cost. And through a series of events, he sort of sees the error of his ways and starts anew as a very old man. As a man who's old enough that his business partner, who I would just presume would have been relatively his same age, had died 7 years prior to the start of A Christmas Carol. I'm going off of memory, but I think it's 7 years. And that's sort of like what you're left with as the film or the novel or the show or however you're consuming it ends, is him sort of on this path to full redemption, and redemption in the eyes and in the hearts of all of the people who have tried to be close to him, who have tried to just put up with him, whatever it is, and then that sort of turning into loving adoration of him. And it's completely the opposite of the thing that I sort of hold most dear as being possible or impossible, right? I'm always thinking it's impossible. And so it always touches me for that reason. But because Scrooge at the beginning and middle is so tight-fisted and uncaring, right? Not only is he tight-fisted, meaning he's unwilling to share what he has, but he also is just clearly unfeeling and uncaring about the hardships of humankind, saying at that point, I think this was written in the 1800s, I could be way wrong on that, but at that time saying that there was a surplus population and that if people were poorly off and had to die, then they should do so and decrease the surplus population. Think about how much more populated we are now. But so he was like that level of unkind and unfeeling, uncaring for his fellow human. And then in his redemption arc, right, him coming around to seeing the error of his ways and vowing to live differently, he would embody everything that is Giving Tuesday. He would embody the spirit of set aside yourself for a moment, be willing to share what you have, be more understanding of the hardships and the challenges that people go through, even if you think that people shouldn't end up sleeping on the street, even if you think that people shouldn't end up without a job. You know, setting that aside and just from a human quality, saying nobody should have to sleep on the street. People should be able to get through hard times when they can't find a job. You know, whatever it is. People should have the opportunity to deal with issues that they have, mental health issues, you know, trauma issues, whatever, in order to help them be able to live a more fulfilled life, flourishing with well-being. You know, being able to come to those concepts. That, I think, is the Scrooge that we're left with at the end. A Scrooge that would absolutely participate wholeheartedly in the spirit that is Giving Tuesday, and not just the monetary donation, but the spreading of the word, the full endorsement of participation by others, because one person, even if they are wealthy, isn't the greatest mover. One person accompanied by their fellow humans and being able to act collectively is the greatest mover. So, sort of a little double dippy there. An unabashed appeal for you to help out on Giving Tuesday, and something I had wanted to do for a while anyway, which is just a little nod to an explanation as to why I hold so near and dear the story of A Christmas Carol. All right, folks. Well, if you walked along with me today, we got about 9-ish minutes in. It is cold out here, so I've started my cold walks for the year. And that's why we have to get those survival items out to folks who have to spend the entire day and night in these elements. No matter what, if you watched this far, I really appreciate it. And as always, I will see you in the next video.